Good evening, everybody who's tuning in. I'm super excited to say that we have a very special guest tonight of the Indoor Football League, two-time Offensive Player of the Year, and the leader of the Quad City Steamwheelers, who led his team to a championship in 2022, quarterback EJ Hilliard. Thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How are you doing tonight so far?
I'm doing good, man. Just my wife just put our twins to bed, so it's been pretty smooth night.
Very nice, very nice. Glad we could catch you right after the kids went to bed and we're not taking any time away from your family.
Yeah,
Definitely understand that all too well myself.
for sure.
So I have to ask, and I'm sure this is a question you've gotten a lot throughout your career. I mean, at 6'2", 210 pounds, extremely athletic, how many times have you been asked to change position to wide receiver or defensive back?
One time, uh, coming out of Valdosta at the Dream Bowl, it was an anonymous scout asked one of the coaches, Coach Gustavius Patterson was our head coach, and he was at Wagner University, and the scout mentioned it to him that I should play wide receiver. And it was me and it was another quarterback. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was at USC, ended up going to Arizona, and I think he played with the Danger for like maybe like 2 or 3 months. But he ended up mentioning it to Coach Patterson, like, do you think EJ would be up to changing the position to wide receiver? And I grew up playing wide receiver in Little League at Liberty City Warriors Optimist, so I played wide receiver. And Duke Johnson was our running back, so I basically was like a tight end out there blocking for him all the time. And then when I got to high school, Teddy Bridgewater was our quarterback, and we were only a year apart. So the only way I would be able to get on the field is about ran down on special teams or play wide receiver. But once I got to high school, I just never had the urge to get out there and play receiver. So I just stuck with quarterback. So when they asked me that at the Dream Bowl, like I kind of was taken aback by it because I had never shown my athleticism. Very rarely ran the football in high school. Probably was a handful of times, maybe no more than 20 times total throughout my whole high school career. I had never ran the ball. So, and about they didn't ask me to run much at Valdosta either. So when he asked me that, I was kind of taken aback by it, and I wasn't really offended by it because I know the history and how they treat guys that may have a little bit of athleticism at the quarterback position. So when he asked me, I took some thought into it, like 2 minutes maybe, if that, and I was like, nah, like I'm a quarterback. I was born to play quarterback, and that was the end of that. But that was the only one time that someone asked me to switch positions.
Fair enough. Krish?
So obviously we see all these leagues, right? USFL, XFL, IFL. Do
Yeah.
you have any desire or want to play outdoor football? Because like I feel like you could play on any of these teams if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's always the goal, especially for me. The older you get, the more wiser you get. The more time God gives me to continue to play the game. It's like why not play at the highest level that you can? Why not try your best to get to the highest level in whatever profession you're in, whether it's sports, whether it's business. Why not try to be the best? Why not try to get around the best? But I know all that stuff is a process, man. You look at those guys and they're getting the opportunity that they deserve. And right now I always look at it, from the faith side, like it's just not my time right now, and I don't want to rush to get somewhere, and it's the wrong time, and I'm only there for a season. I'd rather take my time, get there, so once I'm there, I'm able to cherish it and enjoy the journey that it takes to get there. And sometimes that's always often overlooked. Like we always looking at the end, the destination, and we overlook the journey getting there. And once we get to the final destination, it's like, man, this isn't what I envisioned it to be. We overlook what it took to get there. So I just embrace this moment, and of course, I would love to play outdoor, especially the National Football League, and that's always been my goal. That's going to always be my goal.
Very nice, yeah.
Absolutely. So, EJ, currently my team's working on a top 10 running quarterbacks of all time list. So I wanted to get your unique opinion on who are your top 3 running quarterbacks of all time in the NFL.
All time in the NFL, great question. I grew up watching Randall Cunningham, so I would have to say Randall Cunningham would be my number one. He was just electrifying. He was fast. He was long. He was shifty. He was swift. Um, Coming right behind him, uh, it'll be tough. It'll be Mike Vick. I would say Mike Vick. I would go with Mike Vick. Of course, we know how dynamic, how electrifying he was, how he could change the game in the blink of an eye. And third, I got a 3A and a 3B. 3A will be Cam. Then Cam kind of changed how quarterbacks were viewed as far as running the ball, as far as actually designing plays for him to run the ball. Because Cunningham was more play breakdown, he'd get out of there. It wasn't many design runs for him. And Michael Vick was kind of the same way. I mean, you'll probably get, I think the zone read started to become a thing when he became in the NFL, but most of his stuff was off of the drop back pass and he would take off. But Cam was kind of the first guy that plays were designed for him to run. So Cam would be my 3A, and Lamar Jackson, of course, would be 3B. I think he's going to surpass all of those guys as far as his athletic ability and what he could do on the ground. So those would be my 3A and 3B. So Cunningham, Vic, Cam, and Lamar.
Well, thank you. We'll definitely take that into account on our list coming up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So obviously, in the playoff run, you had to play the Massachusetts Pirates. Unfortunately, I'm part of the Pirates. A very, very difficult day for me. I couldn't sleep at night. But watching you play, like, I watch you move around so easily. And I'm wondering, like, what do you eat? Like, how do you keep your body in shape? Like, that's what I want to know.
Me, it depends. So when I'm getting ready for the season, I've always had troubles with my weight. So high school, I was string being. I was 135 pounds. I graduated early, ended up going to FIU in January. So instead of going back to high school, I just went off to college. And I was like 141 when I first stepped on the scale. And my strength and conditioning coach, he got there at the same time I did. He ended up helping me, get on track as far as knowing what to eat, knowing how often to eat, and tell you no lie, I had to eat all 5 of my meals in front of the strength and conditioning coaches for like 3 months, and I ended up getting up to about 200 pounds. But I felt like too heavy because I never been that heavy in my life. So fast forward all the way throughout college, I played at probably 190. That was my playing weight all the way through college, and then when I went off to Germany is when I first started to put on like that real weight, like 210, and coming out. The Oakland Raiders were like, if you can get up to 225, then we would give you a shot. So at that moment, I was like 195. So I always felt like the ideal weight was 225. But for me, 215 is what I would love to be at. And I usually eat everything, man. I'm not really picky about food. So I eat salad. I usually big on breakfast. And I'm always cooking. So chicken breast, boneless chicken thighs, rice, potatoes. My go-to. So besides breakfast, eggs and usually like a bagel or oatmeal or grits. So that's usually like my go-to.
Very interesting. You had an interesting beginning to your professional career, playing over in the GFL with the Firsty Razorbacks, which I had a really hard time finding statistics for. But anyway, do you feel like the GFL is a good opportunity for players attempting to develop and play outdoor ball like we spoke about a minute ago?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially if you want to play outdoor ball. I think it's a great opportunity, especially over there overseas. It's a different life. And places like that, man, they usually test your will to play ball. Because you're away from your family. It's an 8-hour time difference. When I left, my son was 3 months when I first left. So that was kind of hard for me getting adjusted to that. It was a 9-month process. It was long. Couldn't come back. And but I think it's a great opportunity, man. It's outdoor. Then you got half of the team that's most of those guys, they grow up playing football. So firstly, we had like a funnel program. So kids about 8 will start getting into football, and they would all stay in the same system. So it's kind of like that feeder system, how they do with soccer. They just end up doing it with American football. But I think the Germany league, man, the European league, it's good for you, especially outdoor. The competition is getting much better. I know my team specifically, we didn't have the funds at that time, so the money to be able to bring in the right guys. But like Dresden Monarchs were the first team that called me right after Valdosta. So right when I was getting ready for my pro day, Dresden Monarchs called me, Schwäbisch Hall called me, and those were the two top dogs in all of Germany. But I didn't know much about it, and the quarterback before me ended up playing in Dresden at Valdosta State. So I think, man, if you want to play football, if you want to play outdoor, that's a great place to go. But it definitely tests your will to, do you really love the game? Do you love the game enough to be way over here, be away from your family, and continue to work out and train and, basically get it in and have that motivation and will to keep going without someone over you saying, hey, do this, hey, do that, hey, be here, hey, be there. So I think it's a great opportunity, man, for the right individual.
So I have to wonder, right? You went from Germany to arena football. Do you have an agent or are you like self-represented? And about how many teams, if you feel comfortable saying, how
Yeah,
many teams are reaching out to you on a yearly basis? Like right now, do you have
yeah.
any other teams reaching out to you trying to get you to play for them? Outdoor. Indoor?
Yeah, for sure. I had an agent when I first came out, and then about 2 years into the arena football, and her name was Kristen Campbell, and she's from Miami, born and raised, and she represented Devontae Freeman and Duke Johnson. So I grew up with those guys, and I played little league with those guys. So I ended up basically getting the same representation. And like I said, just end up she helped me get to Germany, and from Germany helped me get into the arena game. And for her, it was you just need reps. Quarterbacks need reps, so it's not about basically where you play. It's just about showing that you're continuing to play. You love the game, and no matter where you play, of where I got to go, that's where I'm gonna go to continue to play the game. And as far as the teams, man, I got a few phone calls. I'll just say that I got a few phone calls. People want me to come in and help them out, and it just worked out perfectly for me to be here, and I'm definitely thankful for that, and I'm definitely thankful to be in a position to where people want you. That's always a good thing. People want you to come be a part of their organization, and seeing from an outside in and talking to other people and trying to get a feel for you, get to know you. So it just lets you know your worth. Just lets you know how valuable you are as a player, but as a leader and as a man. So it definitely speaks volume to that. But yeah, I definitely got.
It doesn't surprise me, man. Like a lot of quarterbacks I'm watching the outdoor game, they're just throwing check downs and like
Yeah,
trying to get easy yardage, but you're just airing it out. So it doesn't surprise me
yeah.
that teams want
That's
you.
always been me, man. Touchdown to check down. I got spoiled in high school. Had great receivers, man. 4 NFL receivers in high school. Sat behind Teddy Bridgewater, another NFL guy. So, man, it was for me. It was touchdown to check down. I'm trying to score quick and fast. My first passing touchdown in high school was on the first play of the game. So it's just small stuff like that sticks with me, man. And I just know I can't try to put myself in a box and just be this quarterback. Coach Ron Turner always told me, if you can count to three, you can play quarterback. If you say 1, 2, 3, here's there, here's the check down, then you can play quarterback. So stuff like that always stuck with me. But I've always been a gunslinger, man. High school, 4 wide, 5 wide. We would never run the ball. It was pass, 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 and just coming behind the right people, having the right coaches from a young age, man, just instilled that confidence in me. So it's always for me touchdown to check down. Can I score? If not, let's check it down. But I'm looking for the home run shot every time.
Definitely.
So in 2018, you end up joining the Quad City Steamwheelers for their
Yeah,
inaugural season.
yeah.
What's up?
Nah, I was saying that was just a crazy, crazy story how that happened.
Hey, perfect. That's exactly what I was going to ask. I mean, what led you to transition to the indoor game, let alone to a team that was forming from scratch?
I was in Germany. Once I left Germany, Coach Shackelford was the first person that called me. Before I left, and then he called me once I was in Germany, and just kept staying on top of me. Him and Billy back, and they kept staying on top of me. So I ended up signing to Cedar Rapids with Billy back at first. Didn't know who Charles McCullum was. Didn't know who Billy back was. I ended up signing there, and Chuck was had signed there as well. And then right before the season, they ended up leaving and going. That's when they went to Wichita, and then Coach Marvin Jones had took over Cedar Rapids. So I was there for like maybe 2 weeks, and Jake Madlock was there as well. And me and Jake Madlock went to college together, and we've been competing since I was 17 years old. So I get there, I wasn't getting any reps with the ones. It probably was 8 practices. I hadn't got 1 rep with the ones, and then me and Quentin Pedroza was there actually. So we end up reaching out to Coach Ross. One of our teammates, Devon Brown, ended up going to Quad City from Cedar Rapids, and he called me like 3 days in a row, like, bro, you gotta come. Bro, you gotta come, man. So I'm like, I ain't sure. I don't really know much about it. So I talked to Coach Ross February 20th. February 22nd, me and Quentin Pedroza drove down there. My birthday was February 25th, which was the first game. So we got there 2 days before the first game, practiced with the team, drove in, got there at 8, practice was 8:30 p.m. He threw us right into the fire, practiced with the team, and then maybe 25 minutes before the game, he comes to me like, you going to start the game off. So I'm like, man, I don't know the plays. I'm just getting here. And then he ended up letting me start, went through my growing pains against Sioux City, threw 2 interceptions early. And I always pride myself on not turning the ball over. And I ended that season with like 4 interceptions. But he stuck with me. And like I said, it was their inaugural season. But I had already knew about them once I got in the area. And I just knew how much tradition, how much passion the fans had. And then I did my research on all the quarterbacks they had and saw those guys were throwing for like 180 touchdowns. Granted, they were throwing the ball 60 times a game, but yeah, that's how I ended up getting to Quad City.
So, so we see outdoors, right? Like certain teams, especially in these alternate football leagues, they
Yeah.
have play calls, and their play calls are only like 4 or 5 words. And then
Yeah.
in the NFL, there's like 8 to 11, maybe
Yeah.
even more. So
Sure.
in arena, are there like play calls, or are you just like chuck the ball up to whoever's open?
Oh, it's play calls. Since I've been in college, I've always been on the West Coast system. So the West Coast system is the longer verbiage system. So it's formation. So it'd be like trips right. If it's a motion, it'd be like Y orbit. The tight end is just going forth and going back. Then it's the protection call. So it's usually a number scheme. If it's not a number scheme, it's like a east jet. So east is right, jet is just jet protection for the running back. And then it's the concept of the play. So if we're running like a dig post concept, it'd be like trips right, Y orbit, east jet, depot. So the depot is the dig, the post is just basically telling guys what to do, and then it'll probably tag another person. So who's ever on the backside, if they're not a part of the concept, then you have to throw that in there. So it'd be like trips right, Y orbit, east jet, depot, X curl or X fly or X drag or whatever the concept may be. So definitely a lot of words telling everybody basically what to do. And that's just if it's no check. That's if it's no, we're not changing the play at the line of scrimmage. So once you get into that, then it can be extremely long for the quarterback. And it's the West Coast system is a little longer. I've never been in a system where it was just trips right, 111. So 111 to just 111, telling guys we're running all one route. So if that's all hitches or all fly routes, whatever the case may be. I've always been in a system where it's long verbiage, got to be able to communicate right, but it's telling everybody on the field what to do and what routes to run or which protection. So everybody's on the same page. So I've always loved that kind of system, and I always got familiar with it. So I'm used to it now.
Definitely.
So you end up joining Corey Ross, the head coach of the Quad City Steamwheelers. Is he the play caller there, or do you guys correspond on play calls?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, he's the play caller. He's always called all the plays. It's probably since I've been here, probably 4 plays that he didn't call that were called by me or asked by me or Thud Rudd ended up throwing a wrinkle in there. Frisco game, he ended up coming up with the game winner play essentially, but his route other play. But other than that, Coach Ross called every play. He's called all the plays. I probably asked him to run maybe 3 plays throughout my 3-year career here. So it's always been he called the plays, we rock with it, run with it, and if I come to him, coach, let's run this. I want to run this. Then he had no problem saying, all right, like let's do it, because it's very rare, very often. It's probably one time a year, or basically once a year. But yeah, he calls all the plays. He draws up all the schemes, and yeah, he's the mastermind behind it all.
Gotcha. So you've got input if you need to, but
Yeah.
primarily,
So
okay.
as far as game plan, what we want to run, what I'm comfortable running, which is usually almost everything. I very rarely say like let's take this out or let's not run this. It's usually we we go through the week and game plan and I like this versus this. Look, if we get this look, let's run this. Uh, this formation would get them in this, so let's try to stay in these kind of formations. Or this down the distance is where they struggle at, so let's try to stay in this down the distance as far as second down and long, or second and medium, or second and short. So yeah, it's that he's always called the plays. But if I need some input, or if Rudd wants some input, he never like shies away from allowing us to help him out sometime.
Absolutely. Dustin chiming in says EJ's the man. Dustin Eichin. I hope I pronounced that last name correctly. And he says don't. So Krish, you're up, buddy.
Sure. So obviously we hear about organizations in arena football that are run very questionably. Now you're lucky to be part of one of the, I think, the best run arena organizations ever.
Yeah.
The resources they have and what they do is incredible in my opinion.
Sure.
So what's your craziest arena football story? Whether it's like going into a place and like looking around and being like, oh man, they don't have like the resources to be successful.
Craziest story probably was our first game going to Sioux City. Man, we ended up getting on the road. Didn't know much about the area, and then the place they had us stand at was just run down. It was just I think they ended up abandoning the building, the hotel. But yeah, the first experience, first road game. I'm like, I ain't no way it's gonna be like this for the whole year. But we end up squaring that away and getting that situated that night. But it was one of those like, man, like this gonna be a crazy season if all the hotels are gonna look like this. But other than that, I really haven't had any crazy stories outside of like the inside stuff on the team or stuff like that. But yeah, that's probably my craziest story. Yeah, first game going to Sioux City, realizing like, dang, this ain't a livable place right here.
Definitely.
Just give me just a second. You ended up at one point signing with the Tucson Sugar Skulls before the 2021 season. Can you kind of enlighten us what happened to lead you to not play for Sugar Skulls?
Yeah, me and my wife had just moved back to Bradenton, so we left Quad City, moved to Bradenton. So I was staying in Florida, and I was closer to my son. So my son he's in Florida, he's in Fort Lauderdale. So I went back to be closer to him, and then ended up talking to Coach Dixie. Came to an agreement, ended up signing with the team, and was getting ready to go off in December. But I was going through a custody battle with my son, so as far as being able to spend time with him, as far as the court system was concerned, so I just didn't feel right leaving, knowing that I had that going on. I'm like, if I'm gonna leave, I want to be able to give my all. I want to be able to at least have a clear mind as far as what's going on outside of football. So I wouldn't feel right going there, and then my heart is not in it, or my mind isn't completely in it, and I'm cheating the guys that's there. Like I'm not giving them everything I got, and being a leader, like that's just I wasn't gonna live with myself being able to do that. So I ended up letting Coach Dixie know, called him, talked to him, chopped it up with him, and he understood exactly where I came from. Very similar situation he had dealt with, so that's why I didn't report. Wasn't able to go to camp. Wasn't able to finish that season, but just ended up training every day, going on the football field, and just getting ready for an opportunity I didn't know would come or if it would come or not. But just definitely kept putting my feet forward and taking it one day at a time.
So you seem to have a lot like left in the tank. Like I don't think you're done anytime soon. So when how much longer do you think you have in the tank?
With this new day and age, man, the people that God placed in our lives, like guys like LeBron, guys like Tom Brady, even Warren Moon, Cunningham, those guys played for a long time. So you got to see what they did right, what they did wrong, what they could have done better. So you got to see stuff like that, and you got to implement that into your life and into what it is you do on a daily basis. And for me, man, I love football. And being away from it for a year, 2 years, you understand how much it means to you, how much it means to your family, how much it means to those that's around you. And it's like, man, if you got love for it, just go until the wheels fall off. Go until you can't go no more. So, I would be cheating myself if I say, you know what, I'm just going to stop because I haven't gotten to the NFL. I haven't got to Canada. Or I haven't gotten a shot out the door. So I'm just going to throw my gift away. I'm going to just put my gift under the dirt and bury it and not look back at it. So I'm like, man, if I can go, I'm going to go. If I got it left in the tank, then because that makes me a better man, makes me a better husband, makes me a better father, better friend. Being able to have that outlet, something I love to do, something I was blessed to do, something I was born to do. So it's like, man, why not? Why throw your gift away? Why bury it? If that's what's on your heart, then keep going. You may not get a shot until you're 35. You may not get a shot until you're 38. You may not ever get a shot. But how would you know if you just give up? So, like I said, I got a lot left in the tank, and just learning different ways to just prepare myself mentally, be less physical on my body. So just finding out different ways, different nuances about the game, and football gonna challenge you. It's gonna make you get better. It's gonna make you get 1% better every day. So the moment you feel like you've reached the pinnacle of, I'm the best, and it'll humble you and sit you back down. So I love the process. I love the fight. I love competition. I love everything about the game. So I got a lot left. I can't even put a cap on it.
Definitely, attitude is everything.
Dustin says, what player on QC's roster was the biggest surprise for you last year?
I would say Nate Sheets, our linebacker. He was still young. I think Nate 20 years old, might be 19, but he's a kid. And to watch him grow, to watch him get better, to watch him hit the weight room, watch him eat the right stuff, watch him put on the pounds. Like, he definitely was a big surprise for me. He helped our defense out a lot, made huge plays, and he's just a fearless young man. Uh, and he's eager to get better, eager to learn, and he's not afraid to admit he messed up. He's not afraid to ask a question. He's not afraid to want to be better. He's not afraid to pick my brain, and not afraid to ask someone, what do we need to work on, or you're at this position, what should I look for if I'm looking at a receiver or I'm looking at a quarterback? Like, what should I do? So he was probably the biggest surprise for his age, and then him being a linebacker, which is probably one of the hardest positions on the field outside of the quarterback, because you're basically quarterbacking the defense. It's one-on-one everything. If you miss the tackle, then it's getting passed off to the secondary, and it's probably going to be a big run. If you're not filling the right hole, if you're not getting the D-line to go in the right direction, you're probably going to have a long day. So watching him mature throughout the season, I think he was the biggest surprise for me.
Very nice. Very nice. I'll have to reach out to Nate and see if we can get him on here as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of curious. Obviously, you've spent a lot of time with Coach Ross, who is a former UFL running back with the Sacramento Mountain Lions.
Yeah.
His offensive coordinator is a former quarterback who has a longtime coached in the USFL, the UFL, Mike Krish. How big of an influence has Krish been on the offense that you guys run in Quad City?
It's funny that you say that. I think it's been a huge impact. That's the beautiful thing about football, especially a guy like Coach Ross being a running back. It's almost essentially like a quarterback, because you got to know the protections. You got to know the concepts, because everything you do is tied to what's going on. If it's a pass block, I got to know where the O-line blocking, who's the free guy, knowing that's my guy, and then receivers, whatever concepts they're running, I got to know what I'm doing out the backfield. So I think he was able to take some of everything that he learned at Nebraska, and then when he went with the Mountain Lions, and then his few months in the arena of football, I think he was able to just bridge everything together and create an offense that he loved, he enjoyed, and then he was able to get that started with the Omaha Beef, and then he was able to fine tune it with us, Quad City. So I think he definitely was a huge impact on probably his start of running his offense, and then everybody that he was around, they were able to just take pieces and bits of information, formations, or whatever the case may be. Now he's on that verge of being able to branch off and get more creative with things he want to run. So the experience helped him along. But I definitely think he definitely helped kickstart his mind as far as being a play caller and offensive coordinator.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't realize it, but there were some amazing coaches in that UFL. Jim Haslett, current XFL head coach. Sean McVay was in the UFL at one point. So
Yeah.
Definitely not to be undersold. You might not have heard the names, but they were quality
yeah.
coaches for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So touch a little bit about your college experience. I know you went to FIU and then you went to Valdosta State. Talk about that a little bit.
FIU was a learning curve for me. Like I said, I graduated early from high school, so I got there 17 years old. Just took a lot to learn, especially as far as classes were concerned. Getting adjusted to waking up 5 in the morning, going to practice, going to class, meetings, and then Mario Cristobal was my head coach my freshman year. So coming from high school, I was already used to the coaches being on you, being cursing you out, just demanding greatness from you through the verbal. And Mario Cristobal was kind of the same way. He came and recruited me. So when I got there, he was all like on top of me, OD, everything. Like he was just a perfectionist. He was a player's coach, and then he would always want to get the best out of you. So I was able to play in the spring game, and I was able to become the backup quarterback to Jake Medlock, and then against Louisville, where Teddy Bridgewater was playing at, Jake Medlock breaks his foot going into halftime. And then at halftime in the locker room, Coach Cristobal tells me, like, all right, you're going in the game. But the whole week I had to practice, like with the ones I had to practice at all, I was just running scout team. So that kind of kick-started me switching my mind as far as always being prepared. And then Ron Turner ended up coming in my sophomore, junior season from Illinois, and then he was with the Colts. And he had a strictly different approach. He was behavior's got to be this way. You got to talk this way. You got to walk this way. You got to wear your pants this way. Like he was just strictly detail oriented. Wasn't really a player's coach, but he could teach you how to play quarterback. Like he could teach you what to do. He could teach you what to say. He could teach you all the nuances. So that's when I really learned football as far as defenses are concerned, as far as fronts are concerned, because he wasn't going to put you on the field if you made a lot of mental errors. So he graded every play, no matter if you threw a touchdown, if you took the wrong footwork, if you looked the wrong side, he would attach the GoPros to our helmets so he could see like where our eyes were looking at. So he was like harping on the details of the game. And then when I went to Valdosta State, that was definitely a different learning curve because Coach David Dean was my coach, and he was just a winner at all levels. So all he knew was win, and all he did was whatever it took to win. So in a sense, he was kind of similar to Coach Cristobal, but Coach Dean didn't say many words, and he was our play caller, so he didn't say many words. And Coach Justin Roper was my quarterback coach, who played quarterback at Oregon. So we're pretty similar. So he kind of helped push me. I got there in the spring, and I earned a starting spot in fall camp. And then I was still learning the game. Helped us go all the way to the second round of playoffs, and then from there, that's when we lost to West Georgia. So it was just a different learning curve for college. So I kind of played a lot my senior year. I started every game, but my freshman to sophomore year to junior year, I probably played every game. Coach Ron Turner ran a two quarterback system. So if Jake would mess up, he would pull Jake out, put me in. If I messed up, he would take me out. So it was kind of like a carousel, but it was a blessing for me because I never took a major injury in college. I never had to miss a game. So every game I've played in, suited up in from Little League, I was able to finish. I never had to sit out, probably missed maybe 5 plays in my whole career. So I definitely look at it like a blessing because I wasn't able to get hit as much. But mentally, I was able to get all the reps I need without physically being out there. So this arena football kind of helped jumpstart, all my live action reps. So I feel like I'm young in a sense as far as my body's concerned, as far as football life is concerned, because I'm just starting to play football, but I was able to get all the knowledge I needed. So now it's just a matter of putting it together and then getting it to where I feel like if I do get to the next level, I got all the tools and everything in the bag as far as just getting to the next level. And then I'm lacking reps, or I'm lacking the mental, or I'm lacking whatever the case may be. So I definitely look back on college like it was definitely a blessing for me as far as not having to get hurt, but getting all the mental reps I needed. So now being able to put that together in the arena football now.
Definitely.
So I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I wanted your unique opinion on this. But apparently, this season was the first season in NFL history in which we saw 2 African American quarterbacks play in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. What's your opinion on that matter? Do you think it's too long coming? Are we making progress in the right direction?
I think it's progress in the right direction. Obviously, it took a long time, and then now we're actually here. And then you got Patrick Mahomes, and you got Jalen Hurts, and you got two black quarterbacks that's able to put it together and lead their teams to the big game, to the big stage. And it's just a beautiful thing for all black quarterbacks that's trying to get there, because it's not just he just runs the ball all the time, or he can't pass the ball, or he can't do this. It's like it's more to the game than that. It's being a leader of men. It's being able to say the right things. It's being able to get guys to run through a brick wall for you. It's being able to get a whole organization to say, you know what, like I'm going to invest 10 years into that guy. Like I'm going to invest this amount of money into that guy. I'm going to invest all these resources into this guy because I see what he means outside of football. It's easy for us to see what they do on the football field and know, all right, that's the guy. But it's so much that goes into that, and then for them to be able to be on that stage and just see what those guys mean to football, what they mean to quarterbacks, and what they mean to black quarterbacks is a beautiful thing to look at and say, you know what, like that's a goal I'm shooting at. No matter if they're younger than you, no matter if they're older than you, it's like, you know what, I would want to be on that stage. Like these guys are making it possible for people to say, you know what, like why did it take this long, or why was it this long? So I think guys have been able to see, like, you know, I would want someone like a Jalen Hurts. I would want someone like a Patrick Mahomes, because I see where the ceiling can go. I see where those guys can go with the right resources or the right team or the right coaching staff or whatever the case may be. So it's definitely beautiful, man. It's not a put me on the spot question. Like that stuff needs to be talked about. Like that stuff needs to be put in the atmosphere. It needs to be heard because it's definitely a blessing. It's definitely beautiful, and I know those guys appreciated what that moment meant, and they probably don't understand the magnitude of it. I mean, outside of Doug Williams breaking the barrier of being the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and then you got the McNabb jersey back there, and McNabb was able to get there, and then you got guys like Cordell Stewart that wasn't able to get the fair shot to be a quarterback because guys were thinking, well, he's too athletic, so let's make him the slasher, or let's put him here, let's put him there. So it took a lot to get there, but to see both of those guys there is definitely a huge monumental thing.
I'm glad you mentioned Cordell Stewart, one of my favorites. I'm a Colorado native,
Yeah.
so got to root for Stewart there.
Oh
So
yeah, for sure.
definitely awesome. And thank you for answering that question because I wasn't sure how you would receive that. So thank
Oh
you.
yeah, no, yeah, most definitely. I definitely appreciate you asking that question.
So with the AFL coming back next year,
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that? Like, I know we're gonna have so many football leagues now,
yeah,
and I feel like that's a good thing, but that's also it can be viewed as a bad thing too because it's like a big landscape, but in the
yeah.
same time it's a small landscape. So what do we need to do as the IFL to get to that next level?
I think it's good for all the leagues to come out because football itself is a numbers game. So I think it's only so many jobs, maybe three quarterbacks per team. Outside of the two guys will put you at maybe 100 guys in the world to play at that level as far as quarterback is concerned. So all of the different leagues opening up. For me, it's just giving guys more opportunity. But the more opportunity, the more eyes out there. So hopefully, someone stumbles upon the right person that they're looking for. But I think it's good, man, for football to be around, for guys to get opportunities. Man, I know millions of guys that's fighting, clawing, trying to get in anywhere, like wherever the case may be, Germany, France, indoor football, arena football, whatever you want to call it, like an opportunity, because they see where it can get you. You got the Kurt Warner story, you got the PJ Walker story, you got the Taylor Heineke story, and it's like, how did these guys go unnoticed? Or how did these guys get missed? And it's like it wasn't an opportunity for those guys. So I think the more opportunities that open up, the more eyes would get on it, the more people would get used to seeing it or hearing about it, and then saying, you know what, why not look? Because you got the Matt Nagy's that played played in the league. You got the Jay Grudens that played like arena football, guys that played this game and now they're where they're at. So it's all about just getting the opportunity. And then you got Coach Sirianni who played uh, he played arena football as well. So you got these guys that's on these stages and know in the back of their mind like why not take a look at one of these leagues or why not try to look for somebody there? Like that's what helped me get to where I'm at. So
Yeah.
that's how I look at it, man. Just more opportunity.
Definitely.
I'm sitting here smiling because you're obviously a student of the game. You're listing
yeah.
off all these guys that like a lot of people don't even realize were ever involved in the arena game. So I love hearing
Yeah, for sure, man. That's what it's about, man. Just taking the game to the lab. It's deeper than me. It's deeper than my position. It's learning the history, knowing who was where, who tried to go what route to get where they're at, and that's the beautiful thing about football. It's a big old fraternity, and it's all about who you know. So you know the right person that's in a position, and say, you know what, like I see you been grinding. I see you been doing this. That's how workouts happen. That's how guys get the opportunity to come in and show what they can do. And like I said, it's so many coaches that went this route themselves to play. There's so many different broadcasters that started off in arena football that did their first bid in broadcasting way back in 2000 or 2001, and now they're where they're at on Fox or ESPN. So it's just small stuff like you never know what may happen or who may say what word of mouth or what could come out of you just being where you need to be at the time you need to be there and just take advantage of that because you never know who God may touch on the heart or whisper your voice or with your name come up in a conversation. You never know how these things work out or how they pan out. So that's why I just love being where I need to be, knowing I'm in the right spot and just walk by faith.
Absolutely. So despite really having only really begun your professional career, this is what, year 5, 6?
Year 5, so yep, year 5, 2018, yep, year 5.
Well, despite that relatively short career, you're often regarded as one of the best quarterbacks in any indoor football league, whether it be the CIF in 2018, the IFL in 2019, 2021, and then again in
Yeah.
2022. Is the only thing left on your list to complete currently winning a championship?
That's one of the things that's left on there. Winning the championship. I've never been an accolades guy, although since high school they just been coming. I've never strived for. Let me try to be the best. Let me single myself out, and I want to be this award winner at the end of the year. It's always been how can I help us win? Whatever it takes for this game, like let's do it. Like I said, high school was 5 wide. We're gonna pass the ball until we can't pass the ball no more. Then I get to college and it's more get the ball to this guy, or let's get the ball to this guy. Then let's learn this. Let's check the ball down here. Let's do this. So each step of the way was a different phase of football for me. So once I got to the professional, I was able to put it all together. But winning the championship is definitely one of those. But my ultimate goal is to get to the National Football League. So that's gonna always be at the top of the list, and that's gonna always be my main goal coming in. Kurt Warner's always been one of my favorites since the younger years. So I wore 13 in Little League. I wore 13 in high school because of Warner. So it's just seeing stories like that and just asking the question to myself, like, why not me? Like, why not you? Like, why not go do it? Why not? He did it. If he did it, it can be done. It's not something that's impossible. So I think that those are definitely a few things that's on my list. Winning the championship and definitely getting out of here.
So with the IFL partner with the XFL, they have a partnership going. If
Yeah.
one of these XFL teams calls you, say you week 1, you go out there, you score 8 touchdowns, which I expect. Are
Yeah,
you
sure.
are you taking that phone call and are you going? Or are you staying?
Oh, they already know what's up. That phone call, I'm heading that way as we on the phone speaking. Like I'm getting there. It's another step closer to where I'm trying to get to. So I'm not in a position to be able to turn down any opportunity, turn down any advancement, any promotion, as long as it's the right thing, as long as it's coming from the right place. It's an opportunity that I haven't had. I could live with myself if I get there and I'm not good enough. But I can't live with myself if I never get there and I see the people that's there and I know what I bring to the table. Like I'm gonna always feel like when the opportunity comes, I just need to be prepared. Like I just need to be ready. So, like I said, I don't want to get somewhere rushing and I'm only there for a season. Like I'd rather take multiple seasons to get prepared. So when I do get there, like it's everything that I dreamt of, but I've already prepared 12 years. Like this is 20 years in the making. Like this is all the way back to 7 years old when I first threw the football to my dad in the backyard. Like this is 20 plus years in the making. So this won't be like an overnight thing. It may seem like, oh, this guy came from nowhere. Like, where did he come from? But this has been 20 years in the making. This has been falling down, getting up. This has been crying, late nights, lonely nights. Like, this has been going to the football field 1 in the morning, 4 in the morning, going back to the football field next day, like missing school. Like, this has been so many different things leading up to this point. So, like, I'll always, whenever that phone call comes, like, my wife knows, like, we're going there as we're speaking on the phone. Like, that's a no-brainer.
I love that thought process. So I'm actually out of questions. So I wanted to give you the floor to shout out anybody you wanted, speak on anything you really wanted to talk about before we get out of here.
Just thank you guys for this opportunity. Shout out definitely to my family, my wife, my parents, my dad, always been on top of me. My mom nurturing me, my sister being there. Liberty City Warriors Optimist preparing me for the next level. Miami Northwestern Senior High School, FIU, all the way to Valdosta to Mexico, and then Germany, First Year Razorbacks, all the way up until now. And to my receivers, man, my offensive line, the boys always help my job be much easier. Shout out to the first duo to ever go first team, Quentin Pedroza and Kevin Stud Rudd. My offensive line, they've always protected me. So that's one thing I've never had to worry about in the arena of football is not being protected. Great relationships there. And Coach Ross for giving me an opportunity to be able to come in 2 days before a game and 2 days before their inaugural season. And from there, just not being able to look back. So, man, definitely appreciate it. Thank God for my abilities. Thank God for these platforms, these different stages that we're able to use and rock out with. So, shout out to the 305, man. They already know what's up, Miami.
Yeah, Dustin had to get that in there in the end, so definitely to make sense. Shout out Miami, he says. Krish, you got anything else for us?
No, that's about it. Probably my last question is you talk about growing up in Miami. Do you have any advice or any inspiration for young kids trying to scrape up to the top?
Oh, always, man. Keep going. It's a blessing to live to see 14 years old. There's so many guys that made it out before you. So many guys that's going to make it out after you, man. Don't let the environment shape your mind to thinking you got to get rich quick. I got to hit a lick. I got to do something that's going to jeopardize my future. Like, stay grounded. I know it's hard. I grew up in the Porky Bean Projects, man. The first integrated center in the world, the first integrated projects in the world. And, bad things come out of there, but definitely good things come out of there, man. And just stay grounded, man. Miami is definitely a fast-paced, toxic environment, but man, there's so many different athletes that came there, so many different producers, entertainers. So just keep going, man. The goal is to get out of there. The goal is to get your family out of there. And the goal is to see more. It's more outside of Miami. There's more to life. It's more different states. It's different places in the world. And like I said, I'm from Miami, but I've been all over different countries, almost every state. Met my wife way in the Midwest, like way in a different states. So I definitely, if I gotta give anything, man, any advice to those guys, is keep pushing.
Love that advice. Thank you so much, EJ, for joining us. I appreciate everything. Have a great night, and definitely keep in touch. Would love to have you back on, hopefully right after you win a ring.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for even thinking of me to do this. And hope you guys continue to thrive and continue to blow up, and hopefully one day we're looking back on this 30 years from now and laughing at it.
I hope so too, my friend. I hope we're talking about you in the NFL here soon as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great night, and once again, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. You too.
If you guys have not done so already, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe. This helps us push the video out to more viewers like yourselves who may be checking out our channel for the first time. Dustin, thank you so much for all the comments. We really appreciate you interacting during the videos. It always helps us bring in the fans, a little bit. So if you have not done so yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're really, really close to 600 subscribers. We would love to hit that number by Monday night, our next episode of Spring Football Reports, where you can catch both Krish and I, and it'll be a whole hell of a lot of fun if you like XFL and USFL, because we got a ton of news to talk about coming up this Monday. Krish, you got anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Yeah, same thing as you. Like, keep supporting us, man. It means so much. After I finish these interviews, I look at all the comments and the views. It means a lot. So keep supporting us, and we'll keep producing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for everything. We'll catch you guys in the future. And always, don't forget to check out our sponsors, SeatGeek, where you can use our code SamShady to support us and save $20 off any purchase from SeatGeek. So definitely check them out. And then also check out our merch at shadysportsnetwork.com/shop, which is available right now. On that note, have a great one. We'll catch you guys in the next episode, which will be coming at you, I believe, tomorrow morning with defensive line coach Brandon McGuire from the Philadelphia Stars of the USFL. So definitely tune in for that one tomorrow, bright and early, 9 a.m. Eastern.